The Council on Foreign Relations is a promotional arm of the ruling elite in the United States of America. Most influential politicians, academics, and media personalities are members, and it uses influence to infiltrate the New World Order into American life. Its experts write scholarly pieces to be used in decision-making. The academics expound on the wisdom of a united world, and the media members disseminate the message. The CFR states that it is host to many views, advocate of none, and it has no affiliation with the U.S. government. No affiliation at all, if you don't count. A council member was elected President of the United States. Dozens of other council colleagues were called to serve in cabinet and sub-cabinet positions, as they described it in Foreign Affairs, along with many members of Congress, the Supreme Court, the Joint Chiefs, the Federal Reserve, and many other federal bureaucrats. They are not affiliated with the government. They are the government, in effect. The Trilateral Commission was established in 1973. Its founder and primary financial angel was international financier David Rockefeller, longtime chairman of the Rockefeller family, controlled Chase Manhattan Bank, and undisputed overlord of his family's global corporate empire. Rockefeller's idea for establishing the commission emerged after he had read a book entitled Between Two Ages, written by an establishment scholar, Professor Brzezinski of Columbia University. In his book, Brzezinski proposed a vast alliance between North America, Western Europe, and Japan. According to Brzezinski, changes in the modern world required it. Resist as it might, Brzezinski wrote elsewhere, the American system is compelled gradually to accommodate itself to this emerging international context, with the U.S. government called upon to negotiate, to guarantee, and to some extent to protect the various arrangements that have been contrived even by private business. In other words, it was necessary for the international upper class to band together to protect its interests and to ensure in the developed nations that political leaders were brought to power who would ensure that the global financial interests of the Rockefellers and the other ruling elites would be protected over those of the hoi polloi. Although the initial arrangements for the commission were laid out in a series of meetings held at the Rockefellers' famous Pocatico Hills estate outside New York City, Rockefeller first introduced the idea of the commission at an annual meeting of the Bilderberg Group. This one held in Noki, Belgium, in the spring of 1972. The Trilateral Commission was unique, though in that it brought the Japanese ruling elite into the inner council of the global power brokers, a recognition of Japan's growing influence in the world economic and political arena. The Commission's purpose is to engineer an enduring partnership among the ruling classes of North America, Western Europe, and Japan, hence the term trilateral. In order to safeguard the interests of Western capitalism in an explosive world, the private commission is attempting to mold public policy and construct a framework for international stability in the coming decades. To put it simply, trilateralists are saying the people, governments, and economies of all nations must serve the needs of multinational banks and corporations. In short, trilateralism is the current attempt by ruling elites to manage both dependence and democracy at home and abroad. Another trilateral critic, now retired Senator Barry Goldwater of Arizona, views the commission as a Rockefeller's family operation through and through. According to Goldwater, the trilateral organization created by David Rockefeller was a surrogate. The members selected by Rockefeller, its purpose defined by Rockefeller, its funding supplied by Rockefeller. David Rockefeller screened and selected every individual who was invited to participate. David Rockefeller and Brzezinski then began the process of selecting from among the trilateral nations the several hundred elite power brokers who would be permitted to join in trilateral policymaking in the coming years. One of the Commission's primary goals was to place a trilateral-influenced president in the White House in 1976, and to achieve that goal, it was necessary to groom an appropriate candidate who would be willing to cooperate with trilateral aims. Rockefeller and Brzezinski selected a handful of well-known liberal Democrats and scattering of Republicans, primarily of the liberal internationalist bent, to serve on the Commission. And in an effort to give regional balance to the Commission, Rockefeller invited the then obscure one-term Democratic governor of Georgia, Jimmy Carter, to join the Commission. And Rockefeller himself had once even invited Carter to dine with him at the Chase Manhattan Bank several years before, as early as 1971, the year Carter began serving as governor.
All right, I'll answer it. All right. Okay, now wait a minute. You said you would go if I answered the question, right? You said you would go if I answered the question. You said you would go if I answered the question. You said you would go if I answered the question. All right, here's the answer. I happened to be in Europe then on my way to Russia. I was invited to go to Bilderberg by Vernon Jordan, a friend of mine and a genuine hero of the civil rights movement. And to the best of my knowledge, NAFTA was not discussed by anybody in my presence. I was talking to people who happened to be from Europe who did not give a rip about NAFTA.
The world's most super elite societies. The Bilderberg Group has taken over this high-end hotel in an Ottawa suburb. They arrive in bulletproof SUVs and limos under very tight security and no media allowed.
I need you to get off the property.